Hey everyone, welcome back to the next video here. And in this video, we are going to be focusing on the front end using React. What we're going to be doing is pretty much from everything that we've done previously in the previous videos, which is setting up our backend and setting up MongoDB. We're going to be rendering everything that we have in our server onto our front end, into our React app or into our to-do list app. So let's get started. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're just going to open another terminal here, and then you want to cd once again out of it. So you're going to type in cd space ... and then you should see it back into the original folder, the root folder, and then you want to cd into the front end. So what we're going to do, cd front end, and then just click return or enter, and then as you can see here, you should be in the front end folder here. So now what we're going to do is we are going to create the React app. So we are going to type in npx create React app, and then just name it something. We're going to name it TODO app, and then just click enter. And then it'll take a few minutes to download here, as you can see, because it has a lot of packages to install. But in the meantime, while that's loading, what we're going to do is we are going to take a look at Tailwind CSS. I used to work with Tailwind regular CSS, but when I started learning Tailwind, it just made everything so much honestly more fluid and faster, and everything could get done right then and there instead of having to go back and forth between different files there. So what we're going to do here is, let me just go to Google Chrome here, and then we can go to Tailwind. I already have it here, but the website is tailwindcss.com/docs/installation. Okay, and then once you're here, you can just look at the documentation on how to install it. It's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward as well. So what we're going to do here is we are going to just copy this part here. It says install Tailwind CSS via npm. So we're going to do that now. So we're going to go back to our Visual Studio Code, and perfect. As you can see, it took a few minutes here, but I'm glad that it normally it does take a little longer, but I'm glad that it was created fast. So once we're here, we are going to cd into our app, the one that we just created, our React app. So we're going to cd into the name of it. So we're going to put cd TODO app. Okay, just like that, and then we're just gonna click enter. Okay, cd, sorry guys, TODO app. Oh, but I've never went into it. Okay, yeah, if you get that error, or if it happens there, basically just hit on your keyboard Control and then C, and then you should be back into the regular here, typing in cd TODO app. Normally, if you're typing in, that means that it was started, the server was started for your React app, in which it shouldn't. But as you can see, cd TODO app, and now I am in the TODO app. So now what we're gonna do here is just we copied it back in Tailwind CSS, this part here. Once again, just copy it and then just paste it back here, and then just click enter, and then it'll take a few seconds. Perfect. And in the meantime, since we are here, let's just install Axios, and Axios is going to be something that we use in order to connect to our endpoints, to our APIs. So what we're going to do is you're going to type in npm I or npm install, and then Axios, just like that. And perfect. So those last two ones were pretty quick. Awesome. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our Google Chrome, and then just look at the next thing. It says now we have to add the paths to all of your template files in your Tailwind config file. So we're just going to take here from quotation mark to quotation mark and just copy that. I pressed Command C or Control C, and then just go back to Visual Studio. And then you see this file here, Tailwind config. Just make sure that it is in your front end folder as well. So then once you have that there, you just Tailwind, and then right here in content in the brackets, you can just paste what you just copied there. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so then you could just get out of that. And then after that, there's one more step here. So from here, from these directives, what we're going to do is we are going to just copy this and then go back to your VS Code and then go to source. And now it's a preference, but I normally use app.css. You could use index.css as well, but I use app.css to post it. So once you're here, you can just, and if you're using a Mac, press Command A for all, or I believe in Windows is Control A if I'm not mistaken. Delete, and then you could just paste it there. Sorry. Okay, perfect. And then that's pretty much it for installing Tailwind. So now, as you can see, React comes with a whole bunch of files here. So we're just going to clean it up a bit. That way it's not a lot of cluster. So we can get rid of setup tests. Just delete that. Report web vitals as well, the one right on top of it. Logo.svg. And app.test. Okay, perfect. So now we have 4 files here. So I like opening up all of them because that's what we're going to do. And since we have app.css, we already pasted it. We don't need it. So you can just X out of it. Perfect. So now in the app.js, this is the app that we're going to use. So you're just going to take the header, and from the bottom header or to the top header, or as long as you just delete everything from the headers, you can just delete it and you should be good to go. And then from the top here, import logo, you could just delete that as well. So perfect. And then you could just leave that there because that's what we're going to use. And then you go to index.css, and then you could just copy all of it and delete it. And then you can just exit out of it. Okay, perfect. And then lastly, for the index.js, what you can do is this part right here, this comment, you could just take out. And lastly, this import part here for the web vitals, you could just take out there. And you should be all set. There shouldn't be any issues with React afterwards. So you can just exit that as well. So the next thing that we're going to do here is we can do everything in the app, but I like to make things in a separate file or in a different page. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to create in our source folder a folder here, and then it's going to be called pages. Okay. And then in the pages folder, you can just create the new file. And then this is what we're going to call home.js, just like that. Okay, perfect. So now once we have that, we will have to write code that way it could be rendered in a function. So I normally use RFCE, in which it's pretty cool. You can just type in RFCE and you just click the first one and it should be then and there. That way it'll be easier. And the extension for that, I believe, is called ES7. Yeah, it's this one here. Should be this one. Okay, so perfect. So you have that ready to roll. And so now last thing is we want it to render. We want our home page to render into our app. So the only thing left to do is just go to app, and then right here in between the div, you just type in the component. Oops. Type in the component just like that. Okay. And then the next thing that we're going to do is this is a shortcut because you have to import the page as well, the file. So a shortcut, you can press Control space, but recently it hasn't been working for me. So let's just try this again. And yeah, you see it hasn't been working. Normally it shows like the home and then it'll tell you the where it's located, but that's okay. We can write it manually up top here. So in order to write it manually, we can write import and then home, just like that, from, and then we're gonna type in ./pages /home, and then you could write .js just to be on the safe side as well. Okay, so perfect. So we have this ready to roll, and let's just start up our React server here, which is going to be running on port 3000. So if you ever want to run both of them together, just make sure that they're not interfering with each other. Although it won't let you, it'll let you know that another port is being used. It's good to know which ports that are being opened or being used. So in order to pretty much open or start the server for the React app, you just type in npm start and then enter, and then you can just go to Google Chrome here and just wait while it loads, and perfect. And as you can see, home is being displayed here. Okay, so we're just gonna put that to the side here, and then this to the side. Okay, and now we're just going to just center this. I like having everything centered just for this here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a little bit of Tailwind CSS. So we're gonna go to our div here, and I just like doing this here. Oh, sorry guys. Okay, so once you have this here, you can just type in h1 just like that, and then you can write to do app. Okay, so now you see it's to the top left corner, and we're just going to see if it works, if Tailwind CSS is working for us. So you just go to class name, and then just to make it bigger, text dash, let's say 2XL. So it should be perfect, so it's working. Okay, and then with everything that's going to be in this div, we want it to be in the center. So text center, and we are going to, class text center, and then it should move to the center. Perfect. And lastly, we want to put some padding, so let's put padding 6. Okay, perfect. And just like that, guys. Awesome. So the next thing that we are going to do is just double check everything is good here. Okay, perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to create the form just to input our to do. So what we're going to do here, and we're just going to create a div here. I like creating another div just in the event if you want to get a little creative with CSS. You can make it into a little card, or whatever you decide to make it, you'll have that readily available to you using it. So we'll do that, and then I'll just make the form, and then I have the label here, and then I'll call it task. Okay, just like that. And then underneath it, we can have the input, just like that. Awesome. And then with the class name, we're going to add some width to it. So we're going to make it 300 pixels. And then the height, we want it to be 50 pixels as well. So we want to add a border. And then we're going to have the border to be color black. So that should give us perfect. Okay. Awesome. So we have that now. Let's just, and this is a cool thing. If you ever have your window like this, and it kind of bothers you because, like, let's say like you want it to be all the way over here, you have a long code and you wanna, it keeps doing that, you can just press in a Mac again, Option Z, and it'll pretty much go to the size of the screen, which is pretty cool that you have it. I always love that. Love that feature here. Okay, so border black. Okay, perfect. So then what we're gonna do is we are just going to add this label here. I think it is, let me just see this. Perfect, just to have that on the top there. Okay, and let's just, from the div here. Okay, and let's just add another break here just to have it on the top. Perfect. We just want to have some space between everything. Okay, perfect. And then now once we have that, we are going to make our button. Okay, and it pretty much is going to be the same thing, so you can go ahead and copy and paste the whole class there, because we want it to be the same thing. And if you see that, you can just add another break here, and then it should fix it. And let's just add one more, that way it would be a little spaced. Perfect. So then in the middle here, you can type in submit to do. Okay, and perfect. And lastly, what we're gonna do is, this is preference, but I like to see any buttons that I make hover or hoverable. So you're gonna do hover colon, and then we'll make it, I really like the teal color lately, so we're gonna do BG background teal, and we'll do 600. Okay, and then hover again, text, for the text white. So once we hover over it, it's gonna be white and it's gonna be in teal. So you can see perfect. Awesome, look at that, guys. Okay, so now what we're gonna do here, so now what we're gonna do here is just add another break. Actually, let's add one more here. And then we are going to have our horizontal line here. That way we can display anything, our to-do list right down here. So we're gonna input our to-do list here and then display it here. And I just saw this part here, I don't like it being too close to it, so you can just easily just add a padding to it and it should move it a little perfect, as you can see. Okay. So now, and if you want this this horizontal line to be a little darker because it's really hard to see, it's fairly simple. You just go to the HR that you just made, and then you can just do border, and then border, and then border black or whatever color you like, but we'll just do that there. Okay, perfect. So you have that. Okay. And then of course we just want to add some more breaks here. That way not everything's going to be there, and we are going to type in H2 to do list here. Okay, and then just add another break. Normally I don't usually use breaks, but just for this it's faster, and we'll just just have the space created. Okay, and perfect. So we have that here now. And then this is where we are going to display our div here. Let me just make that here with everything that's going to go in here. Perfect. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the to-do app. Just making sure that it's rendered here. So in the next video, we will show on how to connect to our APIs. So using Axios. So stick around and see you then.